Thank you so much, Anita. I appreciate it. Good afternoon, Realty Pros, and welcome to another week of Porterhouse Realty Talks. As we began the conversation, even before this recording, we are on fire. We are so excited for everything that's going on in the market. And Mr. Porter just highlighted something that is so essential regarding the interest rate. The interest rate, no matter what it is 100% write-off. So I want for each and every last one of us to write and type in the chat 100% write-off. The interest rate does not matter. So whether it's 5% today, 7% tomorrow, 10% next week, it is a 100% write-off. So when your buyers are talking about the market, you need to speak boldly, speak passionately and confidently, because this is a wise financial decision for your buyers to purchase. No matter what the market is, it's going to be buyers and sellers. And as we stated before, buyers are going to buy no matter what the market. Sellers are going to sell no matter what the market. It's just a matter of which way the pendulum swings, whether it's a buyer's market or a seller's market. Either way, real estate is going to move forward. So with that being said, what is our messaging? How are we educating our buyers? Are we allowing for the information that we hear on the news to affect us as real estate professionals? Or do we realize we have the source of the accurate information and we can educate our buyers so that they're positioning themselves financially to be able to benefit no matter what this market is? You guys know that in Porterhouse, we are investors. We believe in real estate investing. We believe in leverage. We believe in buying properties and being able to, have those properties appreciate and earn the benefits and equity and all those things as a result of it. So with that same mind, that's the mindset that we use when we help our buyers and when we help our sellers, right? So from that perspective, we are moving into a very exciting weekend, guys. We have a home buyer expo here at the office at your Upper Marlboro location on this coming Saturday. And every agent has the opportunity to use this as an opportunity to fill your pipeline, right? Buyers need to hear from us. They need to know from a real estate perspective what that looks like in order for them to buy in the midst of this market. So you need to be positioning yourselves to have everybody in your contacts, your cell phone, your emails, your social media accounts. You need to reach out to every last person so that you can have those people hear this information opposed to what they're hearing on the news, right? One of the things that I mentioned before we began this recording is that in the midst of the pandemic, properties appreciated by 20% per year. So you do the math. If you have a property that's $500,000, that's $100,000 worth of appreciation in 1 year. And it did that consistently year after year in the midst of the pandemic. People were, oh, I didn't make it in to buy when interest rates were 3%, but it didn't matter because when you have that type of appreciation, you're still going to benefit. And even if you have nothing more than a tax write-off, which is tremendous, because if you're paying $3,000 in your mortgage and you get to write off 80% of that, that's a really big deal at tax time, right? Rent, you get absolutely nothing for it. So I'm just on fire. I'm excited that Mr. Porter shared that information about the market so we know what's going on with the buyers and we know the messaging that we need to communicate with everybody that we speak with, guys. We are the leaders. We are the professionals in this regard. So you should be leading those discussions and educating people no matter what their source is. And they hear this on the news and they see that in the paper. How many of you know that big portfolio holders and, multi-billion-dollar company owners, they are not shy to buy? You buy at the lowest interest rate available no matter what the market is, right? There are people who purchase, Mr. Porter, I know, what was your first interest rate when you purchased your house? Your very first home?
13.8%.
13.8%. We know people who purchased at 16%, 18%. I even heard a story of somebody that purchased at 22%. Why? You purchased at the lowest available interest rate at the time, right? It does not matter if the Fed is going up to 6%, 7%, 8%, 12%. Buy so that you have that investment. And I said that a number of times because I really want that to get down into your guys's, your hearts. I want it to get down into your spirit so that you will message the same thing. Yes.
Gina said her interest rate was 10% on a VA.
See, 10% on
Wow.
a VA. And with that being said, Gina has benefited more than 10% every year, I'm sure, right? Every single year. And that was back in 88, 10% on a VA. But every single year, you only paid 10% in interest. But how much of your mortgage do you get to write off? Almost 80%. Let's look at that for what it is, guys. Even if the interest rate goes back to 10% by next year, if you get to write off all of the interest, as well as the vast majority of your taxes, all of the taxes in many cases, then that is a tremendous return on your investment. So let us be the thought leaders and change this conversation that people are having. What we're doing this weekend is crucial, and we need to make sure that these are on the book. If not every month, then every other month, we should be hosting these home buyer expos and seminars so that we are educating people and we are screaming this from the rooftops. Because as we said before, we're not subject to the market, we create the market. There are people that always need to buy and people that always need to sell, right? We know that we've gone through various demographics and the need with regards to life, you know, things that happen in life that cause people to need to sell. They have to sell, or need to buy, they have to buy, or they simply desire to, but they're afraid. So what is it that we need to do in order to be prepared for this coming Saturday? So that is where we're going today on Realty Talks. Thank you. And that was just the opening. Today is going to be two-part. We're going to be talking about the expo, and then, of course, we'll go back to the for sale by owners for you guys who may not have had a chance to join us in the last couple of weeks, because our endeavor there will remain, because that is the most prominent market with 100% of them needing to sell their homes. But for this coming Saturday, for every person here, your goal as a real estate professional or your primary job is to generate leads. And you know, at Porterhouse, we teach you how to generate leads. It's one thing to give you a lead, and that's fine because we do. But if you give a person a fish, they're fed for a day. But if you teach them how to fish, they're fed for a lifetime. So we are very much on teaching you guys how to fish, how to generate those leads. And this Saturday's Home Buyer Expo is exactly that type of endeavor. Pull on your resources. Every person in your cell phone should get a text message from you today. Hey, do you own your own home yet? Are you looking for your next home? Right? We're having a Home Buyer Expo. Please share this information with anybody that you think this would be a benefit to. Send that text message to everybody in your phone. You guys have the flyers, you have the marketing material. Darlene has been so diligent to share that. So send that information out, post on your social media, send out emails. You guys have constant contact. You also have Evite, which is free. I like constant contact. I also like Evite. Evite adds a little bit of an extra element to it because it looks like it's an invitation. It looks like a personal, almost party-like invitation. So you get somewhat of a different reception. There are various different platforms for you to disseminate this information. But the bottom line is, this is what you need to do to build your pipeline. Okay. Aurelia has taken it upon herself to print out some of the flyers there in the office. I think she printed out over 250 flyers. So with that being said, we need you guys to come to the Upper Marlboro office today, between today and tomorrow, and grab those flyers and be intentional. Be intentional about passing those out. And this is where I'm going to ask you guys to join in, because we have been through this quite a number of times in terms of prospecting for buyers. I want to hear from you guys. What are some of those sources that based on all the trainings that we've had, that you need to target for buyers for this upcoming Home Buyer Expo? I see your hand up, Darlene. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Well, I'm on my way.
You are echoing.
Yeah, because me and Angela in the car. Mute. Hello?
I can hear you. Okay, both of you are muted now. I can't hear you. Try that one more time.
Okay, I did. So we're on our way back to the office, and in the office are some invitations. And what we're going to do is, with that golden nugget you gave us the last time, where we're going to Bright and we're going to find those people that are renting, and we're going to fold up those flyers, put them inside those you're invited, and we're going to actually go to those places, those homes, and deliver those invitations for the expo on Saturday.
Excellent. And I want you to give a little bit more information in the event that there's somebody on the line that wasn't at that training where we shared that. Talk through what it is that you're talking about, the golden nugget.
The golden nugget is we go into Bright and you choose your neighborhood. And what you do is you're going to look under the rentals. You're going to look under rentals. You're going to look at the homes that are rented. And you get that information. You're going to print, write down the address. You're going to insert your flyer. You're going to take your card and you're going to put it in the invitations that we have there at the office. And you basically go to the address, knock on the door, and you're going to invite, because the people that are in the house, they're renting that house. So they need to purchase. But you're also going to look at the amount they're renting for. I don't know if that's something we discussed, but I know maybe that's just me in my head. But anyway, that's what we would do. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for that, Darlene. And just to add a little bit more to that, guys, there are so many sources of buyers. And it is essential that we be targeted in our marketing approach, right? We can definitely go, and we need to go to places like Wegmans and places like, Costco, and to, any place that we can pass out a flyer, we should be there. Any place that people are, we should be there, right? With that being said, there are very specific marketing approaches that we take when we're looking for buyers. And those are people who are renters. Renters you can find in masses. So whether it's you go into your rental apartment communities, you can literally probably throw a stone and find a rental community, and you simply go there. You guys go there together and you door knock and you take those flyers. Then if you want to take it to the next level, if you have people who have a mindset of being and living in a home already and they're paying a mortgage, it's just not their own, they're paying somebody else's mortgage, then we take it to the next level and say, okay, well, these are people who are actually renting homes. They already have somewhat of a taste of home ownership because they're no longer in an apartment, but they're in a house. They've enjoyed the backyard. They've enjoyed paying all these different things. Why not show them how they can, for the same amount that they're paying for rent, or probably even less, own their own home? So what Darlene is talking about is how we went through Bright MLS, instead of doing a property search, doing a rental search so that you can find the properties that have been recently rented. These are people who have a mindset and an appetite for homes already. Everybody knows that rent prices are high. And when interest rates went high, rent prices went even higher. And I'm not sure if you guys are aware of how high rental rates have gone over the pandemic as well. But this is a conversation on both ends. So I want you to keep that as a tool for your tool belt, because just like people are having this conversation that we're having to quench on the interest rate end, rents have gone up. They have increased drastically. And as you know, there is no write-off in paying rent. That is 100% money that is gone once you pay it. You get 30 more days, and that is it. So with that being said, think about communities, guys. Go into Bright MLS, find some of these in your farm area. Say, okay, well, I'm looking at 20774. I'm looking at 207, 12, 20721, whatever your community is. Go and find those properties that are being rented and drop off those flyers. Take the invitations. Be intentional about your prospecting, because you're building your book of business. Every contact that you make that comes here, they may buy within the next 30 days, the next 3 months, the next 6 months. But at the end of the day, these are your clients that you're building, right? These are your leads that you're generating. And as we talk about in any regard, we know it's seed time and harvest. So you got to be diligent with that, diligent to pass out those flyers, diligent to make those contacts, diligent to go knock on those doors, so that you are generating those leads that will eventually turn into closed deals and settlements for you. Okay. In terms of prospecting for buyers, what else are we doing in order to prepare for our expo on Saturday? Where else are you guys reaching out to? Tell me some of the things that you're thinking about.
Also, Ms. Porter, I wanted to share the invitations. you can pick those invitations up at the dollar store. So you don't have to spend a lot of money for the invitations. And they do add a really nice touch because it's like a personal touch that you have. You don't just have the flyer, but you have the actual invitation that you're, sharing with the people that you're talking to. Also, too, something else that we want to remember is to make sure that you boomtown, make sure that you go to your boomtown buyers. And especially, I went through and I especially looked at those that said high activity, and you could see, where they had been, like really looking, at properties. And so I just kind of, sent them an email and saying, wow, I noticed that you have your eyes on all the new properties that are coming on the market. Um, and and then I said, I would like to invite you to our Home Buyers Expo. I actually had someone who responded back to me. So don't, that's easy enough to be able to go out and just send that information out that way as well. You can call them. I tried to call everybody first, and then if I didn't get a call, then I sent them the email. And so you're able to do that also, able to, even go onto obviously we want to put it on all of our social medias sites as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that, Anita. And instead of me just going down a list of things that you guys want to be doing in terms of marketing, I want to hear from you, right? You have professional relationships in your sphere of influence. That includes everybody from friends to family to colleagues, people that you used to work with, people you go to church with, the barber shop, or people that are at your local Starbucks, people that do your hair, people that do your nails, people that know your kids, people that are in other social organizations, people from every walk of life that you have met before or people that you have access to meet. These are all people within your sphere of influence, right? So with that being said, the opportunities are endless for the number of people that you can actually reach on a daily basis, really, but specifically to invite them to this Home Buyer Expo. And you will be surprised at the number of buyers that are, your third time home buyers, fourth time home buyers, fifth time home buyers, or whatever the case is. So whether or not they have purchased before, we want you guys to be encouraged to have this level of conversation, because I will tell you that in terms of the expos that we do and the information that we present, no matter how many times a buyer has purchased a home, they always walk away with information. And they always say, wow, I've never heard that before. That was new information. That was insightful. I'm glad that I came to this expo. Okay. So in terms of your marketing, every single person, whether you are full-time or whether you're dual career, you can generate leads from this and build your book of business. Some people need to be actively outside doing, door knocking like you see Angela and Darlene doing. Then there's some other people that maybe your portion will be sending this out by email and text message to all of your sphere of influence. With that being said, each and every last Realty Pro needs to take advantage of this opportunity and make sure you do your part. Even if your part looks different, you should definitely have a part. And the level of the intentionality behind your marketing is going to determine how many leads you get from it. So essentially what I'm saying is what you put in it is what you're going to get out of it. And what we want for you guys to get out of it is leads and a healthy book of business that's going to carry you throughout the fall of this year, the last summer, at the fall, the winter, and into next year, so forth and so on. All right. In terms of your marketing, tell me something that we have not yet talked about, but that you will be committing to doing in order to get this information out about the Home Buyer Expo on Saturday.
Well, Jasmine, I don't appreciate you telling people to go to Starbucks, man. I've been grooming that territory for 13 years, and I don't want to see any. Well, there you go. Never mind. Sorry.
And we have sold properties to so many Starbucks associates and managers. So just be aware, if they have a job, they're likely able to qualify. If their credit needs repair, that's just the process. It doesn't mean that they can't purchase. So every single person that is gainfully employed, you want to have that conversation with them, no matter where they work. All right, first of all, I want to, let's see, we have Talita, we haven't heard from. Angela, we haven't heard from. Gina, I see your messages in the chat. I want to hear from everybody today. I want you guys to be on fire about this. I want you guys to be involved in building your pipeline. So I want to hear from you specifically out of the conversation today. What sticks out to you? What are you going to do to make sure that you have buyers that come through this Home Buyer Expo and build your book of business? All right, let's see who we should call on first. Curtis. Come on, Curtis. Followed by Christian. Curtis, if you're able to unmute yourself, please do. Otherwise, we're going to move to Christian. Christian, if you're able to unmute yourself, I'd love to hear what you're going to do in terms of sharing this information for the expo to build your book of business.
Okay. Honestly, it has been a kind of burden in my heart to aggressively move and see the people I can get in. And I've made quite some efforts. The only thing I realize is that some of the people in my sphere of influence that are interested in getting a home right now, when they do that initial credit check, a very good number of them, for whatever reason, are having some issues that they need to rectify to qualify. And another thing I realize is that some of them are doing 1099, which, due to the way they did their last 2 years filing, put them in a kind of predicament. So I've been doing a kind of educating them on what they should do, even when they do 1099, knowing fully well that they want to buy property, the adjustments they need to make, and the sacrifice thereof, because you can't eat your cake and have it. If you want something, you need to pay the price for it and get it done. Then you can go back to your normalcy. Yeah, but I'm thinking of printing some flyers myself, but since there are some flyers available, but I think this will be specifically for the Expo, but I'm thinking of printing some flyers and sending directly to rental facilities as well, and target some family members that I think have lived in their house for a long time and may want to upgrade and get something new. That's what I intend doing. And I think since I have a little bit of space of time this time, the bandwidth to do it, I think this is the best time for me to move forward. Thank you.
Excellent, Christian. Thank you so much for sharing that. That is a big part of the conversation, right? Because we know that in order for a buyer to buy, they have to have a certain credit score. Christian, I want you to do one more thing. I want you to reach out to Mr. Porter and I want you to reach out to Mr. Cooper to have that conversation, because I can guarantee you that there are some strategies to help build their credit that they may not have considered. And Mr. Porter teaches people how to increase their credit score in a relatively short amount of time without having to do anything to devastate that score to get them to the point where they can get approved. And then your conversation with Michael Cooper, because he's going to be able to direct them as to what to do that the underwriter then would be able to qualify them for that loan. So take the next step, reach out, have those conversations, and I'm glad you're on that path. With those people, Christian, invite them to the expo anyway. So whether it's virtually or whether it's in the office, it's always going to be a good thing to keep them immersed in a field that you want them to be in, right? We know that
Sure.
they have to prosper in the area of their knowledge, their understanding of what it is that they're trying to do. So keeping them focused on the goal and providing them with all the information, resources, insight, and all those things will help them to be that much more steadfast in their commitment to doing what they need to do to be homeowners. So definitely still invite them. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thanks.
All right, let me hear from you, Talita. If you're able to unmute yourself. I know that you're at work, but if you're able to unmute yourself, come off of mute and let me know what you're doing to make sure that you build your pipeline through this Home Buyer Expo. And if Talita, you're not able to go at the moment, Angela, I see your hand. Come on, Angela.
Hi, Jasmine. Hi, everyone.
Hello, Angela.
Hey, I was just going to say, from previous events we've had, more importantly, open houses, we've had so many people register. Those people came to those properties with an intent to buy. So that was one avenue as far as reaching out to them, trying to get them to come out to the expo. The other thing is, since we are only 2 days away from the expo, and, if anyone's feeling like, I have a lot to do, I'm a little overwhelmed, but I know I need to get this done, you know, access to constant contact and or the text campaign that we've done is a way where if you have just 15 minutes, you can send a short message and get it out to the mass. So, if whether you're a new agent or not, that's probably the best way to reach the most amount of people. A lot of times I feel like we think, oh, we want to reach out to someone renting, or we want to reach out to someone who is maybe going to buy. But if we reach out to everyone, sharing the flyer with them, letting them know who do you know who might be interested in this or who could benefit from this, then that's how you get to a whole nother layer or path of people, not just targeting those we think need to buy.
Right.
Because you'd be surprised, people going through hard times, divorces, things like that. They're not making that public, but that message from you to whomever you send it to, someone else may share that with them. So if you're running low on time, which we all are, you don't have time to door knock and do those things, text message campaign and constant contact is the way to get to a lot of people in just 15 minutes.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that, Angela. And I see your message in the chat, Talita. And I see your message in the chat as well, Gina. If you want to, Gina, take yourself off of mute and let us know what you're doing to prospect, to build your book of business through that expo. If you can unmute yourself, Gina, go ahead and do so.
Okay, so, I gotta turn this down. Okay, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I will be reaching out on Bright MLS, like another young lady mentioned earlier, in addition to passing out flyers and posting on all my social media. And well, I did say passing out flyers, but to the people in my sphere of influence, so from my church members and all. And I've already mentioned it, posted it and everything previously, so now it's just a reminder I'm sending out, hey, don't forget to save the state, But I've been making phone calls. I've been, doing a little extra stuff.
Excellent. Great job, Gina. Thank you so much for sharing with us what your prospecting endeavors are for this coming weekend. Guys, from the last expo that we did, we have multiple buyers under contract who came to the last home buyer expo. We have multiple buyers who just received pre-approvals, and then a number of people who are working through the process. So whether that's credit or whether that's still providing documentation to the lender, there is always fruit from home buyer expos. So this needs to be a staple in your endeavors on a consistent basis. So just get used to what that looks like to constantly push buyers and drive them into this for this format so that we can provide them with information. Okay. I want to welcome Nicole. She's one of the newest members of our Porterhouse family. I think this is her first time joining us on Realty Talks today. Welcome to you, Nicole. And I want to call on you also. So if you are also able to unmute yourself and share with us what you'll be able to do in light of all the things and ideas that you've heard us say today in order to get buyers out to the expo, even if there's something that you think of that may be different than what we've already said. If you're able to unmute yourself, then by all means, please share.
Well, thank you, Jasmine. I appreciate you so much. And thank you, everybody, for all the warm welcomes that was on WhatsApp. I want to say Khadijah has been awesome. I've been a pain in her behind with trying to get myself set up. But we're getting there relative to today for this coming weekend. This is probably bad on me, but I want to show up and see, of course, what it is we do so that I could get myself better prepared and equipped to move forward into the next events to come. I have people on my mind that I've thought of, but at the same time, if I can't explain it, I feel like, how can I really be of value to them? And I want to kind of be able to explain to them confidently on what it is that we're doing here. So I'm excited about the fact that Porterhouse does this kind of thing. I think it is very important to tell buyers about what their buying power is and how great it is to be a buyer and to move from those rentals, like you said, to that. Like I said, my daughter, I have one daughter out of the 5. I have 5 kids, but my second oldest daughter, she's renting right now. She thinks she's gonna come back home, but no, I'm pushing her in another direction because that's just you're not coming back here. And then I have another daughter and son-in-law in North Carolina who are thinking about keeping their current property and maybe moving closer into the city there in Charlotte. And so, they were expressing their fears about interest rates. And I'm like, oh no, don't worry about them rates. Don't worry about those rates. If you're going to keep your house, you're going to pull out of that house to get your next house. And you're going to put a tenant over there that's going to cover that. So I'm kind of trying to shift them into thinking, but I think what this event will do for me is to help me see some of the new things that have been out, especially with mortgages and advantages that I need to be reminded of because I'm just getting myself back into the game of real estate. I've been out of it for a while, so I know a lot of it has evolved. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm going to come and get myself educated, and then I'm going to be putting the stuff together, pulling from all the nuggets everybody has shared, which I'm like, oh, that sounds good. Oh, yeah. Oh, I like that too. So that's what I'm doing, long story short.
Nicole, thank you so much for sharing that. I'm so happy that you brought that perspective to light because I'm aware that there are quite a number of agents that may be newer to Porterhouse and you have not experienced the Porterhouse Homebuyer Expo before. So let's just kind of lay out what that looks like, right? And I realize that a lot of brokerages don't do it. But for Mr. Porter and I, ever since our inception of Porter Home Team, when we were real estate agents under a different franchise, this has been a very important model for our business because you constantly get a stream of buyers. You constantly have a pipeline of closings that are directly associated with it. And what the goal is of any successful home buyer expo is to do a couple things. Number one is focused on creating the need or the urgency. They already have the need, the urgency for the buyer to purchase a home, to purchase it now, and to purchase it with you. So that is the theme of the Home Buyer Expo, right? Because we all know that it is in the buyer's best interest to own a home. There's so many benefits that we talk about from the buyer's financial position. We even know that it improves the buyer's, even their emotional state, and so many different pieces that go with home ownership, namely the American dream with increasing their wealth, so forth and so on. So everything that we're sharing with them is in their best interest because they learn how to walk through that process, right? People fear what they don't understand. So what another part of that process is to break down for them in layman's terms what that looks like, how easy it is to become a homeowner, what that pathway is, what the pre-approval process entails, what the home buying process in and of itself entails, who to connect with, who are your point people, and then what their next steps are in order to get that process started today, even with connecting with the lender for pre-approval. So all of that kind of sums up what that home buyer expo is. And just like you heard us talking about in the beginning of the conversation, one of the biggest factors that we deal with is the current market climate. So the current market climate is the interest rates. So a lot of that is breaking down those fears of the interest rate, giving them insight, understanding, and empowering them so that they're able to move forward confidently and just get their piece of the pie, the American dream of home ownership. So that is in a nutshell what the whole goal and the focus is behind this Home Buyer Expo, Nicole. So I encourage you, I'm excited that you are coming so that you can see how this is done. I encourage you to have somebody to come with you. So whether it's a daughter, whether it's a friend, or whether it's whomever, because it is going to benefit you and it's going to benefit them. So I'm excited to hear you say that. And for all of our agents for whom this will be your first home buyer expo with Porterhouse, I'm excited that you guys will have that opportunity because we're going to be looking forward to you guys spearheading these. So it's not that you have to do everything, but we're rotating in terms of the groups that will be, in charge for coordinating and making sure that the event is planned. All right. Thank you so much for sharing that, Nicole. Does anybody else have any more thoughtful insight as to certain things that you can do in order to market for this event that we haven't already said? All right. Well, if you haven't, there are flyers that are at the office. We want you guys to definitely use those flyers because we don't want those to go to waste. I think Aurelia printed out over 250 of them. So you print them. You heard Anita talk about the invitations that are at the dollar store. You can put the flyers in the invitation and take them to those communities. Or you can send out your text message campaign, your constant contact campaign, your Evite campaign. There are things that you can do both electronically, and there are things that you can do hands-on in light of your passing them out at any place that you can find people. Door knocking, passing them out. So whatever it is that you need to do, all of this is done for you guys so that you have a platform to build your book of business, so that you have a kind of a staple, so that you segue into that conversation with the buyer, so that when you're actually walking up to talk to somebody, you have something of value to offer them and an invitation to extend information that's going to benefit them, whether it's their kids, friends, family, and everybody. So be excited to share this information. All right. Does anybody have any other thoughts or anything that they'd like to share in light of that before we end this topic for today? We're not ending Realty Talks just yet, but I want to give you guys a moment if you have anything. We're going to talk about our lead locomotive for this evening before we end Realty Talks. Angela, I see you've unmuted yourself.
Yes, I was just going to say, and it's a little repetitive, but with those flyers in the office, you guys, let's really try to get rid of those. I would hate to come in on Saturday and there's still flyers there. So I recommend you grab some of those. If you're going to pick up dinner tonight or tomorrow or whatever, where you're going to lunch, take that flyer in there with you. You know, as the business owner, you know, Panera has a cork board in the back of their stores. Ask, can you post that somewhere? So, you know, it may generate more business for you, but it will also, you know, hopefully attract people to come out to the event. But grab some of those, and wherever you go, you go to the grocery store, try to hand it out to a few folks. You know, that's more the, you know, that's not so much with intention and plan, but keep some on you because there's a rare opportunity where someone may say something and you want to hand in that flyer. So let's really try to get rid of those. And then someone else mentioned about the invitations at the dollar store or Dollar Tree. Aurelia has left invitations at the office. If you come in the office, grab the flyers, grab a pack of invitations that are already there, and then just try to hand out 8 or 10 or however many you can. They're already available to you. It won't cost you anything.
That is excellent, Angela. Thank you so very much. Is there anybody else that has any other questions, or what's your key takeaway? I want to hear that. If this is your first home buyer expo, or maybe the last one we did was your first, which one thing is your key takeaway? And then we're going to move on to our conversation for the lead locomotive this evening. Give me one person to share your key takeaway. One person? All right, Anita.
Well, thank you for volunteering me. So
you are welcome.
Absolutely. So one of the key takeaways is, you know, the more excited that you are about, you know, the expo, then the more aggressive you'll be, and the more you'll be able to, you know, encourage others. You're excited about what you're doing. And so, you know, there are people who are looking to purchase, but perhaps have whatever hesitations that they have. But when you're excited about the information that you're able to provide to them, then you're able to share that with them in a way that kind of draws them in. And then in that case, you have them, you know, willing to participate because, you know, this is for them. You know, this is something that will be, I mean, like for a lifetime beneficial to them.
Excellent. Thank you so much for saying that. And I see your message as well, Nicole, in the chat. She said, be intentional. Anita said, be excited. And Nicole said, be intentional. I think those two sum it up. So I am very much excited about that, guys. I'm looking forward to seeing you on Saturday. Let's transition very quickly to talk about our lead locomotive for this evening. This evening, the first part of that lead locomotive is going to be to get those flyers and go somewhere and pass them out. if you're on the call, if you already have an accountability partner that you're working with, I want you guys to, let's see, who does not have a partner to work with in order to prospect for this event? I know that Angela and Darlene are currently together, but I want for everybody that's on this call to have somebody to work with. Of course, you can pass them out on your own. Of course, you can send it electronically, but I want you guys to work in pairs at least for the lead locomotive, so as to keep you guys accountable to ensuring that you actually prospect and build your book of business. So I need to know who needs a partner. All right, Gina needs a partner. Perfect.
I do.
Christian, you need a partner?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Who else needs a partner? Nicole needs a partner? Excellent. So if that's the case, we can have, who else needs a partner on the line? We're going to have you guys to go with some of the agents who've already developed momentum in doing this. So then for Nicole and Gina, so Angela and Darlene, you guys, I want you guys to add them to your team so that you guys can prospect together. And Christian, let's see. Curtis, what are you going to be doing to prospect? I know that you're multitasking, so you may not be able to unmute, but I want to put Christian with a guy. All right, let's see, Christian, we're going to find you a guy. I know you probably would be okay with the group of girls, but we don't want to kind of have you out there like that, being the only guy in that group. So we're gonna find
Jasmine,
you
and sorry,
yes.
we can meet all of the building pros you just named. We'll meet them at the office at 7:00, including Christian.
All right, Christian, I'm going to call Kerman. Kerman wasn't able to join us on Realty Talks. Christian, you can join everybody at the office as well, but I want to personally connect you with Kerman so that you have a guy as well, and you guys can do the ongoing prospect together. Okay, Christian?
All right. Thank you. What time is the meeting?
At 7.
7 tonight.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'll be there.
Okay.
Is there any specific attire? I saw you all had scarves on, or you all, you know.
That's for the expo. Darlene can speak to that if she wants. For the expo, the theme is flying above the fear of the interest rates. So it's the whole flight type of, attire with the ties. And I think Darlene has pins as well. And then passports, Darlene, is that correct for the buyer? But there for tonight, you're just prospecting. So whatever you want to wear for prospecting.
Right. So we have our scarves for the flight attendants, well, the female flight attendants on Saturday for those that that show up. And then we have the captain's pin for the guys. And that's for the expo on Saturday. But right now, Angela and I are out here in our sneakers and walking shoes, handing out stuff. So, just have on some comfortable shoes and let's be ready to walk, get it in.
Excellent. And that creates excitement. When you have a group of people, there's a whole nother load of energy that comes along with it, and even synergy, and it helps to attract people to you. So with that being said, I'm excited that you guys are coming out there. All right. So everybody on the line now has a group to work with for prospecting. If you don't, reach out to me offline, but I wanted to make sure that that was done before we leave. So then we understand our Thursday evening lead locomotive is going to be actively prospecting for this Home Buyer Expo. That's what you guys are doing this evening. For those that have to wait until 7, then you can join up at the office at 7. If you want to get started now, that's even better. Get out while you still have a whole lot of daylight, and you can pass out as many flyers or talk to as many people as possible. Send this information out. But at the end of the day, this is building your book of business. Okay, so be intentional and be excited about what you're doing. And those are words from both Nicole and Anita, intentional and excited. All right, guys, does anybody have any questions or anything for us before we depart for the day?
Also, Ms. Porter, so don't forget to bring some business cards with you.
Excellent.
As well.
Excellent notation there, definitely. So what the ladies are doing and the gentlemen are doing with the flyers, you take the flyer and you just staple your business card to it. Because the flyers are general and you put your information on there so that they can reach out to you or say, well, hey, Gina invited me to the expo, because you want to connect with them personally. So great notation to make there, Anita. And I see your message in the
Jasmine,
chat, Curtis. No worries. Yes.
I was just gonna say for some of the maybe newer agents who don't have business cards, don't worry. If you don't have them yet, just come on out. All the information's on the flyer, so you don't have to worry with that.
Excellent. Great notation as well. All right, guys, if you have any questions, let me know. Is everybody clear on what we're doing? Let me go ahead and end the recording. We will go ahead and end the recording for now.